Hello everyone and welcome back. Here is your girl again, Miss Continental. It's a beautiful day out here and I trust you guys are doing great, and depending on where you are watching from, good morning, good afternoon and good evening. Like I said, it's a beautiful day here, but it's not a beautiful thing that I'm about to share with you. I say it's not a beautiful thing because it relates to Nigeria. When something is something that concerns to Nigeria, it actually take it personal, because I'm a Nigerian. That's the first place that I ever knew. That's my birth country. So anything that affects it, it affects me. Anything that affects the path should affect the whole. And I think this should also be a problem. This should also be something that also affects the entire country. So especially when it relates to somebody that holds a very prominent position in our country. And I'm talking about the incident that relates to our dear senator, and a sitting one for that matter, Senator Ike Ekwemadum. Good afternoon, sir, and I hope you are doing okay. So before I continue, I'm going to introduce this our senator to you properly. Like I said, he is Senator Ike Ekwemadum from Enugu State, and he is also representing Enugu in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Abuja. So he was also a former deputy Senate president for many years in Nigeria. A former deputy Senate president to the Federation of Nigeria, and that means the #4 man in the country. So now, as we all know, there were change of hands in the House of Senate. So now he's just a senator. But you know what? A military man is always a military man. So that title, that command, that respect that he held at the time as a deputy Senate president is still there. He still have his loyalists. Can you imagine a man of that personality? You know, having to go through what he went through in Germany. So this is what happened. He was invited by the organizers and the Indigo in Nuremberg to attend a Yam festival. Actually, I think the second annual Yam festival that they were organizing. So they invited him and he obliged. He went. But unfortunately, you know, Nigerians, we always be Nigerians now. We always take advantage of any situation and show who we are. So he was invited, he went there, but he was met with disrespect, humiliation, and all that. But you know what? In life, it's not what happened around you that matters. It's not what takes place. It's what you are allowed to get into you is what matters. That's just something he has, I believe, already shaken off, and he's still a senator. And this one with the matter with you. So he's still a senator. You can't take that title away from him. So, anyways, we're just going to try to add a little bit of flesh to these highlights, and because of time, again, I'm going to try to make it as brief as possible. So he visited, and then he was actually told that, you know, the place was crowded up. There was the mayor, there was the Nigerian ambassador to Germany and everywhere. This were not actually true. So this also made me to wonder, is it that even the organizers themselves, some of them, you know, in every gathering there must be a Judas. Is it probably some of them that also arranged with this thing? We know what happened to Julius Caesar and Ernest. Even his best friend too was amongst those who arranged his death. So he just walked into it, and we also what happened for many of us who are literature students. So anyways, he was told everywhere, the place was set up, the hall, the convention hall was packed full of great personalities, and that they were waiting for him. But when he got there, that was not even actually the case. So he was actually, when I mean humiliated. And you know what, just before I proceed, I want you guys to take a look at this video, and then I'll be back with the rest of my thoughts.
In July, I was in America to attend the National Convention of the Igbo people in America. So when I came back, I had a delegation from Germany who also wanted me to attend their own convention in Germany. And because we were on vacation, so it was necessary for me to oblige them. So I left Nigeria on Friday to attend the program, which was supposed to be on Friday night and Saturday evening. And Saturday afternoon anyway. So Saturday afternoon, I was informed that the place is full, that the mayor of the city was already seated, and I didn't want to keep anybody waiting. And of course, that the Nigerian ambassador to Germany was also at the venue, so we had to rush. So when I got there, obviously the ambassador was not there yet, and but I saw a lot of people, a lot of Igbos who are really assembled. So I was excited. So I came out of the car, just as we have seen so many people here. So I wanted to say hello to them, extending pleasantries. So there are a couple of young people with IPOB emblems and shirts who are standing in front of the place. So one of them now accosted me and said that we didn't do much when they had this operation Python Dance in the southeast. So I told him that let me extend greetings to everybody. I can respond to him later. I'm just coming in. So he held my hand and said no. And I removed my hand and then started shaking other people. So at that point, the organizers apparently noticed what was happening. So they wanted to resist them. Then a fight ensued. Remember that it was supposed to be a convention center, an event center. So it wasn't a poultry farm. So what we saw, people brought eggs, which of course was premeditated anyway. So if that wasn't the case, then nobody would have had the egg in the place. So they said throwing eggs, and then I felt I had to leave the place. So police now came and I left. Yeah, it was.
That you were ambushed somehow.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I said that people had eggs, so you don't go to a function with fresh or raw eggs. So it doesn't happen. So it was actually planned. So, but I'm fine.
You see, we shouldn't be seeking justice from the German government.
Well, as I said, I've forgiven them. I moved on. So I just moved on. So the government of Germany, they have whatever they want to do. They are free to do that.
Your Excellency, aside from the reasons they gave, do you suspect anything personal to that attack?
No, I don't think so. I think it was just some people who are misdirected, misguided, because they were. I had a feeling that they were under influence of alcohol or drugs. So they don't represent the feelings of our people.
What does that portend for our politicians and leaders who are traveling abroad?
Nothing. I was absolutely nothing. The people who organized that sent me a letter, apologize for what happened. There's no problem. Everybody's free to go anywhere. It was just some misguided people. It was called miscreants. They don't represent the behavior of Nigerians abroad. We have so many responsible Nigerians abroad.
So have you read the reaction of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, saying to the extent that calling for the itinerary of leaders from the southeast and saying that placing a ban, so to say, on them traveling abroad?
Well, let me just say that the leaders he was mentioning were very responsible for getting him out of jail in the first place. So what we would do in the circumstance is to leave him with the verdict of history, the test of his conscience, and possibly the repercussions of ingratitude. So I hope he won't go to the extent of attacking any of the Southeast leaders anywhere.
But do you have any problem with IPOB here in Nigeria?
First of all, I'm the Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. My job is to seek out where there's injustice anywhere. We have problems in the northeast. I visited the northeast, I visited the IDP camps. I donated money, I donated materials there. We have problems in the southwest, south. I went to the creeks and saw the environmental situation there myself. And I sympathize with them. Apparently, I'm possibly one of the few people that do a consultant before he decided on the issue of the amnesty. I was the person who advised him that he needed to call a meeting of the Council of States. So he had to invite the then Solicitor General to discuss that with me, and I showed them the constitutional implications. So I've always spoken out, no matter the concern Nigeria, no matter where they come from. So it has nothing to do with IPOB or whatever.
My Igbo brothers and sisters, my Eastern people in Nigeria, Ogini, Nigigini, Nigigini, why? Why all this? We complain about Nigeria being zoo. What did you guys represent in this video? I mean, zoo, they pass like this again. This is just animal, like, this is just a caricature. Just made yourself a caricature, and you say you are humiliating the Senate president. And how has that added value to you as a people of so-called Biafra from that day of the incident till now? What value has that added to you? I mean, you take gratification in what you do, that you have humiliated him. It's back to his base. Business for him as usual. Like, in my mind, I'm like, stupidity will never cease to amaze me. That's arrogant and mere stupidity. You didn't have to do that. And how did you also portray yourself to the international world? Like, even in the country, let's say, even in the country, Germany, how you tell una present yourself? Which eye say those people they look una? Did they seize his passport? Did they detain him? Did they say, oh, come, you are one of the people that are ruining Nigeria. You are not going back. Did they do anything to him? He just dusted his feet and he took off back to Nigeria. And you are there to your own people. If it is somebody, if it is an Hausa Fulani man that did this, now you say, hey, this is what we have been talking about. The Igbo people, they are underrepresented. Nobody respects them. Nobody value them. And this one now, your own person. Look at what you did to him. What a disgrace. What a shame. That was uncalled for. That wasn't necessary. That is not what Nigeria needs. That's not what we need. You know what? I try to think, how can I be so objective in my thoughts here? But you know what? No matter how objective we try to be, our own objective opinion is other people's subjective opinion. So it doesn't matter how you try to like put it, people will still not decide you are taking. And I'm not afraid, you know, for people to know how I feel at this point. Okay? I'm not really afraid for people to know how to feel at this point. Again, I'm not trying to be tribalistic or to be, you know, I want to be diplomatic as much as I can be, okay? Without being, trying to be ethnical or tribalistic, yeah. But among the Southwest, I'm sorry to say, something like this cannot happen. Laye Koleshele. Okay, let me say Tinubu, for instance. We all know Femi Fani-Kayode, how he has been very verbal, outspoken, vibrant out there. I know Tinubu is not his favorite at this time, you know. He talks against APC leadership and all that. So I think Tinubu, without no exception, okay? So but recently, himself and Tinubu met at this our late Funke Fashion Roti's daughter's burial. Remember, it's not long ago, the lady that was killed by some miscreants. Okay, and at this point, I don't even want to believe the Hausa Fulanis did this. They didn't do it. Okay, and I did say somebody did it. I'm not calling names here, but at this point, the Hausa Fulanis, I can categorically say they didn't do that thing. They didn't kill that woman. So she was killed in Ore Road from Ekiti State in her burial. We saw Fani Kayode, how he even prostrated to greet Tinubu. But on the social media, then when it comes to expressing himself, he does it without no fear, without no equivocation. He's just so like outspoken about how he feels about the current state of affairs in Nigeria. But when he met Tinubu, he still greeted and still prostrate. But when they leave there, he go continue. And I know some people were saying that he's a sellout, he's an eye service man, that they were expecting to do what to Tinubu when he met Tinubu at that burial ceremony. To do what to Tinubu? No, nothing. Nobody feel hold him out now. When it comes to talking, when it comes to action, he does it. But it's not by fighting, it's not by violence. when they had the opportunity to meet with the senator one-on-one, it could have been a time to kind of have this roundtable talk that I've always been talking about. Okay, sir, we are not really happy as Biafrans, as your children. This is what is going on. You are our representative there. We are here to hold you accountable. What is happening? Why are there no good roads? Why are we underrepresented? Well, ask him some questions and then you get clarifications. You didn't even use that opportunity. You started throwing eggs. You started throwing stones. You started hitting him up like a mere criminal. You wanted to kill him. You wanted to kill him. I mean, that does not make sense. It doesn't happen anywhere. This cannot happen in the South. Like I said, I don't want to sound tribalistic here, okay? But this will not happen in other regions. So everything that happen for Igbo land, I don't know why. Please, my Igbo brothers and sisters, none are not verse from you. But let's say it the way it is. That is animal. That is so animalistic. And at the end of the day, eventually, you guys form your own Biafra. Is that how you people are going to be settling your disputes, your differences? Because they are bound to be differences. Even within the family, even within siblings, even siblings that are youth. Even this tongue and teeth, they fight, they go into conflicts, they bite each other. So when those times comes, where, you need to use your diplomacy. Nah, stick, egg, and this, none of the settle matter. And you have one person that is somewhere, like a spirit somewhere, invisible, giving you command to do whatever you have to do. What a shame. We've been de-educated for Nigeria before. We get educated minds. So why are we behaving like thugs? Why are we behaving like this? Sure, we're ready to do your revolution. This one, we don't just be like Libya. We just want to spoil the country for Buhari hand, just because we don't like him or something. Why? Even if we don't like him, let's like the country. Let's like ourselves now. Nobody has been able to be vocal to say this. This is my mouth. I will take and talk anything. I will say it because this is my platform. This is how I feel. As you there where you there, Israel, America, all there you are igniting violence. Now so me too, I'm here too. I'm telling you that, sir, what you are doing is not good. You are causing crisis in the country and you are not there. If you are really fighting for the leadership of Biafra, come to Nigeria and fight for it. We all heard about Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela was doing his own freedom fighting inside South Africa there. Make you come on ground and do it. Don't be wherever you are and be igniting violence. You promising them money, you are giving them command, you are this thing, and can you imagine that? I listen, I follow you a lot. I listen to your broadcast, and I know the major thing, one major idea, one major fact that I've been able to get for your broadcast is that it doesn't matter what it takes. That is, it does not matter how many people dies. All you want is Biafra. A leader, somebody wants to be a leader. What if all of them come die? Who you want come lead? Who are you going to be leader to if they all die? My dear Igbo brothers and sisters, make una get sense. Or at least borrow wisdom. Borrow it. If you don't have it, you can borrow it. This is what happened in Germany. Come on, let me tell you guys. The truth of it is that you just made Nigerians in the diaspora more volatile. That's what you just did. Because at least the world can say that we have no respect for our leaders. And if we do not have respect for our own leaders who are supposed to be there advocating for us, then who is going to advocate for us? Who is going to respect us? They're just going to be doing whatever they like to us. Although that has been happening before, it's just going to get worse. I'm not saying that we have the perfect leaders, but are we going to even do better when we get there? And that's why we need serious thoughts, serious conversations. Let them know we mean it, we are serious, but not by violence. Not even in this way. If Nari Biafra, okay, take for instance, you really want Biafra, all of una are there abroad, both on our leader and Nnamdi Kanu, the ones that are in the north, everything, you people will go to your region and stay there, and from there they throw missiles, they fight. Don't be so now they scattered all over the whole world, you are agitating for Biafra. You know what? You guys know what you are doing. You know this fight is not leading anywhere. This is a case of, you know what? If I can't have it, let me ruin it. Let me spoil it. at Nigeria now. They won't seize their property. Oh. The British, they just ruled against Nigeria and they have given order that the Irish government should seize Nigeria's asset worth about $9 billion, actually not million, $9 billion. That will not be our problem. Oh. Nigeria is already facing that crisis, already facing how to appeal that judgment, how to appeal that order, how to take. That will not consign anybody. Atiku on his own part too is also dragging, still taking the APC leadership to court, still claiming that Buhari is not qualified. Everybody just fight your own selfish interest. The main issue that affects Nigeria, we are not uniting together to tackle it. And this is just making our citizens abroad, not just abroad, even the country as a sovereignty volatile to the world. That's what we just a ruiner, we just a spoiler. Now just made a spoiler. May God forgive us. May God forgive us. The next generation will ask also. Just like we are asking questions about those who were dead. Those are nationalist fighters. What happened then? 1960 to 1966. That small little time that the British handed over power. Just like we are asking questions. The next generation, they are coming to ask questions. What happened in our era? You know what, guys? I actually had a video that I was supposed to upload today. Like I told you the last time, very informative. I'm going to kind of push that forward. And I think, I should, upload this for you guys to kind of have a second thought. We are one Nigeria. No matter what we are fighting against, in the face of the international world, where are you from? Nigeria. I be any Biafra passport today, I be any Southwest passport today, I be any Hausa Fulani passport. Now Nigeria passport, now they know. If you bring any other passport, they will not honor it. So they will let go, we are Nigeria. Maybe they fool ourselves, they go. Our mumu don't do. So guys, I don't know, some people are going to hate me with this, but that's just okay. At least I feel relieved that I've been able to air my views, my thoughts, and my take on this. So again, for the few of you who like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And for those of you who do not like it, I mean, it's okay. And tell us why. And then again, we are going to make this as interactive as possible. And for Senator Ike Maduku, I wish you didn't get injured. I trust you are strong. I have listened to your press conference since you arrived in Nigeria. You're a strong man. You're a very forgiving man. He actually said that he forgave them, that they don't know what they are doing. And he cited several instances where he was actually an advocate for the Biafrans, for the Igbo people. A 5-page letter that he wrote to President Buhari. I mean, it's out there on the internet. Go and Google it, the 5-page letter that he wrote, advocating for the Biafrans, asking for equity, equality, true federation on behalf of the Biafrans. And he was even one of those who even also worked to make sure that this guy that is up there now, and Nnamdi Kanu, that is like a spirit, the invisible guy, you stand for here today, tomorrow he did there, next tomorrow he did here, I don't want to call you one kind name like that. I for just call you the name here. But I still reserve, I still want to give you that respect because you are in Nigeria. Just because of that blood, Nigeria, you have it and I have it. So we have something in common. I don't want to call you that name. So, I mean, he cited it. Shame unto you. Look at that. And you people like somebody who is doing something, oh, I did this, I did this. No, it's not everybody that will come out and say, I'm doing this, hey, I'm doing this, look at the work I'm doing. So people just do it because they have to do it. They feel obligated. And whether you appreciate it or not, they leave judgment to God who sees everything in the secret. And that's why you see some people, they go cause them. As they go cause the terror, that cause, go touch them. Because they have the relationship with God. They know how they make God happy. They know how they help humanity. So those causes, not their offense. So don't judge people. Look at what this guy just said recently, Senator Ike, in the press conference. The cases he cited, how he has intervened in the Biafra case. Did you guys all know this before? When I want me person, they come and they do eye service. They talk saying they do this. Before now, not say somebody they work. So, I mean, people, I bet we get sense. If we don't have it, let's borrow it. Okay? So, I'm going to stop here today. And, yes, I hope you guys really gain one or two things in this video. Like I always said, out of every nonsense, there's always a sense to make out of it. This can't be all totally nonsense. And this is just how I feel. Again, I'm keeping it real, according to my sister, Sister Adiola. You're doing a good job too. So yeah, thank you so much, and God bless. Thanks for watching, and until I come your way again, I remain your girl, Miss Continental.